Let's talk about condo living in South Florida. I've made a couple condo videos before, got some really good responses on them. Condos have been a hot topic lately in the news. I've been getting a lot of questions about them, some good, some maybe not so good, but people are still interested. So let's talk about some pros and cons of condo living in South Florida. So South Florida and condos kind of go hand in hand. And a lot of you reach out to me and ask me specifically about condos, whether it's in Fort Lauderdale, Palm Beach, Miami, whether you're looking to occupy it or invest. So without wasting any time, let's dive right into the pros and cons. We're gonna alternate them. So starting off with pro number one, and that's gonna be the location. And condos, for the most part, are usually in prime locations, whether it's on the coast, on the beach, or in a downtown area. And if you are in one of these areas, you're in a very walkable area, whether it's on the beach or downtown. Chances are it's very walkable. If not, you're at least within a 5-minute drive of pretty much everything you need. And the only downside that I could really think of to this is maybe just the traffic, not just cars, but foot traffic also. If you're in a downtown area, it gets pretty busy. But as you guys know, if you've watched my channel before, you know I'm huge on knowing your areas of interest or having your areas or locations dialed in first before even looking at a house or a condo, especially if you're relocating from another state, because the last thing you want to do is buy the home of your dreams and come to find out that it's in an area that you absolutely hate. And that's exactly why we want you to reach out to us. If you didn't know, we are a team of realtors here in South Florida. And we make these videos to give you something that I didn't have when I moved down here 5 years ago. So if you're looking to relocate to South Florida, buy or sell, maybe you're looking to leave South Florida, either way, we'd love to hear from you. We'd love to connect with you and see how we can best help you process your move. So feel free to give us a call, text, or email at any time. All right, con number one, it's the style of living. And I'm talking about you feel like you're living in an apartment. I mean, you kind of are living in an apartment. A condo is an apartment that you own. But it's not only the unit itself. You know, a lot of these buildings, you have the long hallways, kind of gives you that hotel feel. And sometimes it just doesn't feel like home to some people. And then if you live in one of those smaller buildings that maybe has only 10 or 15 units, you may not have a balcony. So you kind of get that boxed in feeling. Or you may just have a catwalk where, you know, it's like the outdoor hallway, and that kind of gives motel vibes. Okay, the next pro is gonna be cost. And condos are just usually more affordable than single family homes for the most part. And really this just has to do with supply, overabundance, and some other things which we'll talk about in a little bit. But the condo market is tricky. It definitely comes and goes in waves. Like at the beginning of the pandemic, the condo market was super hot. People were just snatching up condos left and right. But then once that building in Surfside collapsed, a lot of things changed, which brings us to the next con, which is gonna be costs. And when I say costs, I'm not talking about purchase price, but the actual costs to get into a condo. So ever since that whole thing happened in Surfside, a lot of condos were under fire. They had to make sure that they were up to date with their inspections. And so they started raising HOA fees to make sure that they had a certain amount of money stacked up in the reserves, just in the event that a future major repair is needed. I've told this story once before, and we helped a client purchase a condo maybe about 2 years ago. Small building, it probably only had at max 15 units, no amenities, only a pool. They didn't even have washers and dryers in the units. So no amenities. HOA fees were about $300 to $350 a month. I believe this was the beginning of 2022 or maybe the end of 2021. And then in 1 year, they raised their HOA fees to about $800. And this year, I just touched base with them recently. They're close to $900 now. So you're talking almost $1,000 a month in a condo building that really offers you absolutely nothing except a pool. Aside from that, you just have to take into account, where are you moving, the location, how big is the building, how many amenities are there, you know, what size is the staff that they have to employ. This is all gonna have a big deal on how much your monthly fees are. And the place where a lot of people get fooled is they see a condo that's reasonably priced and it's right on the beach or it's right in the heart of downtown. But that HOA fee is gonna be somewhere between $1,000 and $3,000 a month. And that's kind of where they get you. And aside from the amenities that may include insurance on the building or taxes in some cases, but that $1,000 to $3,000 a month is in addition to your mortgage payment. And if you're not buying cash, you will have a mortgage payment. And the thing with condos is they don't accept those low down payment programs, those 3 to 5%, 10%, even 15%. A majority of them don't accept that. So when you're buying a condo, you will be putting a minimum of 20% down. I like to tell everybody 25% just to be safe. So you're figuring you see a really nice condo at a really nice price, but then it comes with these additional costs that you just want to be aware of. So the next pro is going to be maintenance. And this is big for a lot of people. As simple as it is, all you have to do is just move right in and maintain the interior of your unit. That's also where your monthly dues are going, to maintain the building and just the grounds overall. But for someone who despises things like landscaping, cutting the grass, or just any type of upkeep that a single family home would require, this is probably the perfect option because, like I said, all you got to do is just move right in. You know, aside from maybe cleaning your windows if you live on the beach especially, but chances are you're probably going to pay somebody to do that for you. The next con is going to be associations, and a lot of people have a love-hate relationship with homeowners associations. I mean, these are the people that are charging you $1,000 or $2,000 a month just to occupy your unit. They're also the ones who are raising your fees every year to collect for those repairs that may be needed in the future. And sometimes you see these fees going up and up and up, and you just, it seems like you don't know where your money's going, if I'm being quite honest. But what I want to speak about more instead of money in regards to associations is the control. They're basically like a mini government, and they usually have tons of rules that you have to follow, tons of bylaws. And I'm not saying that this is necessarily a bad thing, but a lot of people don't like to be controlled like this, especially when they own their property. It just kind of makes them feel like they're renting all over again. Especially when it comes to renovations or any type of customization, a lot of times you're going to need the HOA's approval to even do that. Next pro is going to be amenities, and this is going to depend on what type of condo building you choose to move from, but most of the time you'll have some type of amenities, whether it's just a pool or a resort where you basically don't have to leave for anything. And I'm not joking when I say that. There are some buildings out there that really you feel like you're living in a resort because they have everything from concierge service to valet parking to basketball, tennis courts, multiple pools, restaurants, libraries, little community centers. They hold events. So there really is a strong sense of community when you live in a condo. And if that's something that you're looking for, you know, it's a little bit easier to get that in a condo building than it is to get in a single family home, especially in Fort Lauderdale or Miami, unless you're living out in the suburbs where you're in an HOA community where they still have those types of amenities. But this is a big reason why a lot of people do love buying into condos, because then they don't have to think about putting a pool in their yard. It's right there, but you are paying for it. So these next few kind of go hand in hand, and I'm actually gonna lump this next pro and con together, which is gonna be oversupply and many to choose from. So yes, on the brighter side of things, if you're looking to purchase a condo, there's usually many to choose from, which makes finding a better deal or just something in your budget a lot easier than shopping for a single family home. However, at the same time, if you do decide to buy and then down the road you decide to sell, the same concept applies. There's an oversupply, and that means that you need to be very competitive with your pricing. You may not get the price that you want, which brings me into the next con, which is resale and appreciation. So condos are just typically not known to appreciate the same way that single family homes do. And a lot of that has to do with the previous things that we just spoke about. They're just not as appealing to as many people, which is one of the reasons why we see the vacancies so much higher. And that's not my opinion, but the numbers don't lie. In addition to that, after 2021, when that building collapsed and all these new rules went into place and all these new fees were being collected and HOA prices were going up, a lot of people decided to sell their units, and now potential buyers are facing the same problems that those previous owners were facing. So they're just a little bit more cautious. But this isn't anything new. Condos have always kind of paled in comparison when it comes to appreciation compared to single family homes. But over the last few years, it's just amplified. So I'm not saying buying a condo is a bad investment by any means, but what I am saying is that you probably will see more attractive prices, but you're just not seeing the whole picture, which is exactly why I made this video and why I encourage you to reach out to us first if you're moving to South Florida. You don't have to do it alone. So I hope you got value from this video. Our number and email is on the screen. Feel free to reach out to us at any time or go to the link in my description and book a Zoom call with me directly. In the meantime, as always, I appreciate you watching and we'll catch you on the next one.